This book's called The Smartest Giant in Town. Look at the giant. He's got such scruffy clothes on. George was a giant, the scruffiest giant in town. He always wore the same pair of old brown sandals and the same old patched up gown. "I wish I wasn't the scruffiest giant," he said glumly. But one day George noticed a new shop. It was full of smart clothes, so he bought a smart shirt, a smart pair of trousers, a smart belt, a smart stripy tie, some smart socks with diamonds on the sides, and a pair of smart shiny shoes. "Now I'm the smartest giant in town," he said proudly. George left his old clothes behind in the shop. He was about to go home when he heard a sound. On the pavement stood a giraffe, who was sniffing. "What's the matter?" said George. "It's my neck," said the giraffe. "It's so very long and so very cold. I wish I had a long warm scarf." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off his stripy tie. It didn't match his socks anyway. He wound it round the giraffe's neck. It made a wonderful scarf. "Thank you," said the giraffe. As George strode home, he sang to himself, "My tie's a scarf for a cold giraffe. But look up me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town." George came to a river, and on a boat stood a goat, bleating loudly. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my sail," said the goat. "It blew away in a storm. I wish I had a strong new sail for my boat." "What's he going to use?" "Cheer up," said George, and he took off his new white shirt. "It kept untucking anyway," he said, as he tied it to the mast of the goat's boat. It made a magnificent sail. "Thank you," said the goat. George strode on, singing to himself, "My tie's a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. But look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town." Oh, look, tiny, tiny mice. George came to a tiny ruined house. Beside the house stood a white mouse with lots of baby mice. They were all squeaking. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's our house," squeaked the mouse. "It burnt down and now we have nowhere to live. I wish we had a brand new house." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off one of his shiny shoes. "It was giving me blisters anyway," he said. As the mouse and her baby scrambled inside the shoe, it made a perfect home for them. "Thank you," they squeaked. George hopped along the road now, but he didn't mind. As he'd hopped, he sang to himself, "My tie's a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. But look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town." George came to a campsite. Beside a tent stood a fox, who was crying. "What's the matter?" asked George. It's my sleeping bag, said the fox. I dropped it in a puddle. I wish I had a dry, warm sleeping bag. Ooh, cheer up, said George, and he took off one of his socks. It was tickling my toes anyway, he said, as the fox snuggled into it. It made a very fine sleeping bag. Thank you, said the fox. My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a goat as a sail for a boat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of my socks is a bed for a fox, but look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town. George came to a big, squelchy bog. Beside the bog stood a dog. What's the matter? Said George. It's the bog, said the dog. I need to get across, but it keeps getting stuck in the mud. I wish there was a safe dry patch. Cheer up, said George, and he took off his smart new belt. It was squashing my tummy anyway, he said, as he laid it down over the bog. It made an excellent path. Thank you, said the dog. The wind started to blow, but George didn't mind. He hopped along, singing his song. My tie's a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat, a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of my socks is a bed for a fox. My belt helped a dog crossing a bog. But my trousers are falling down. I'm the coldest giant in town. Suddenly George felt sad and shivery. Oh, I'm not at all smart. He stood up on one foot and thought, I'll have to go back to the shop and buy some more clothes. He turned around and hopped all the way back to the shop. Oh no! But then the shop was shut. Oh no, said George. He sank down to the doorstep and a tear ran down his face. He felt so sad. All the animals had met on his way home. Then out of the corner of his eye he saw a big bag with something familiar poking out the top. George took a closer look. My gown, he yelled. My dear old gown and sandals. George put them on. They felt wonderful and comfortable. I'm the cosiest giant in town, he cried, and he danced back home along the road. Outside the front doorstep, all of the animals he had helped were carrying an enormous present. Come on, George, they said. Open it. George untied the ribbon, and inside was a beautiful gold paper crown. Look inside the card, George, said the animals. George put the crown on his head. Ta-da! And opened up the card. Your tie's a scarf for a cold giraffe. Your shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. Your shoe is a house for a little warm mouse. One of your socks is a bed for a fox. Your belt helped a dog who was crossing a bog. So here is a very fine crown, ta-da! To go with the sandals and gown, to the kindest giant in town. Oh, that was lovely. What a fantastic book. I really liked that one. I hope you did.